So we've got some new updates about the Galaxy S25 Ultra, and there's also a bit where Samsung is actually apologizing for not being innovative enough. Yep, you heard that right. What's up guys, Sal here. So first up, let's talk about the rear camera design of the S25 Ultra. Last month, OnLeaks gave us a first look at the S25 Ultra. Almost everyone agreed that the phone would have rounded corners. But the real debate started when it came to the camera setup. OnLeaks and Ice Universe had different opinions on how the cameras would look, sparking some confusion. Well, fast forward to now and we've got some more clarity. Details about the camera rings have surfaced and it looks like OnLeaks was spot on. Ice Universe has now confirmed that the camera rings on the S25 Ultra will look quite similar to those on the Z Fold 6. However, they won't be exactly the same. So what does that mean? The individual camera lenses will have thick, dark rings around them, just like we saw on the Z Fold 6. Check out this leaked camera setup of the Z Fold 6 Ultra or Special Edition. It might look somewhat like this. Personally, I still think the S24 Ultra's camera rings look better than those on the Z Fold 6, and judging by the response from 11,000 people in this poll, it's safe to say I'm not alone in that opinion. Now, moving on to software. The S25 Ultra will be the first phone to come with One UI 7, which is shaping up to be Samsung's biggest software update yet. And here's some good news on that front. Ice Universe says that the latest internal version of the One UI 7 is running super smoothly. Samsung has also revamped several system UI and app icons, including the gallery icon. Now, the old gallery icon got a lot of hate, so much so that Samsung decided to change it up. We don't know what the new icons looks like yet, but it's great to see they're listening to user feedback. Speaking of listening to feedback, Ice Universe also mentioned that Samsung is adding more widget options in One UI 7. In fact, he says One UI 7 has the most and the best widgets compared to any other skin or operating system out there. We've already seen a few of them, like a pill-shaped weather and clock widget and a screen time widget. There's even a new 2x2 size widget for routines, allowing you to feature 4 routines inside. Of course, there's more to come, but we'll just have to wait and see what those new widgets will look like. Next, recently there were rumors that Samsung might go with a MediaTek chip for the S25 and S25 Plus in certain regions. However, according to a new report, while Samsung did have discussions with MediaTek about the Dimensity 9400 chip, they've ultimately decided to use it in the S25 FE instead. What this means is that the S25 and S25 Plus will likely stick with the Snapdragon 8 Elite across all regions. The Exynos 2500 is still facing some yield issues, so it's more than likely at this point that Snapdragon will be the go-to choice for the entire S25 lineup, which is great news. And while we're on the topic of the S25 FE, Korean media reports that it's gonna have a thinner body measuring 7.6mm, 0.4mm thinner than the S24 FE. It's all in line with the rest of the S25 lineup, which is seeing a similar reduction in thickness across the board. The S25 FE is also set to keep the same 6.7-inch display, so no changes there. Now let's talk about that apology. It's not every day you see one of the world's biggest tech companies come forward and admit they're facing a big problem. But that's exactly what Samsung did in a press release this week. The chairman of Samsung, Lee Jae-yong, acknowledged that the company is in a bit of a crisis and directly apologized to customers, investors, and employees for not innovating enough. He also promised that Samsung is going to make some big changes to get back on track. One of those changes? Samsung has already put a 6-day work week in place for executives to create a sense of crisis among leadership and push for improvements. This apology came right after Samsung announced its Q3 2024 earnings guidance, where it expects to make an operating profit of $6.8 billion, which is about $900 million short of what analysts were expecting. To be clear, this apology mainly addresses Samsung's poor performance in its memory, semiconductor, and chipset division. However, those divisions are closely tied to the company's smartphone business, so any breakthrough in those areas is bound to have a positive effect on future Galaxy phones. Samsung's leadership pointed out that the company has a history of turning crises into opportunities, and they're determined to do that again this time around. Like I've said before, it's rare to see a company as massive as Samsung to admit a mistake and apologize for it. But this happens to all companies eventually, At some point, they stopped taking big risks and focused more on playing it safe, and that's what seems to have happened to Samsung. But don't get me wrong, just because their innovation has slowed down doesn't mean their products are lacking in quality. The Galaxy lineup is still one of the best on the market. However, the drive for groundbreaking innovation that made us all fans in the first place, yeah, that's been missing for a few years now. But it's good to see they're acknowledging the problem and are making efforts to fix it. Let's hope these aren't just empty words and that Samsung actually follows through on these promises. Be active in the comment section, so if you have anything to add to this, I'd love to hear. And if you're looking for more updates on the S25 Ultra, check out this video and I'll see you there.